instantly gain an advantage over others when it comes to arguing and debate. Stay tuned. Hey, this is Damon Cart from NLP Gym. Neuro-linguistic programming is the study and the technology of creating the life that you desire. And I've been studying and mastering this for the past several years in order to create the life that I desire and also help you create the life you desire. If that sounds good to you, please click subscribe to this YouTube channel so you can get these videos on a regular basis. I've been arguing and debating since as far back as I can remember. I actually enjoy doing it. I know that might sound a little bit strange, but to me it's more like sport. And along the way I've learned a lot of lessons, and when I learned NLP, I also learned a lot of better ways to argue and debate. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 tips that will instantly make you a better debater, and it'll make you better at arguments and winning debates and arguments. These are lessons that I've had to learn repeatedly. I still have to relearn them sometimes because I end up catching myself and realizing that I'm not following my own rules and following the lessons that I've learned. So this is not something you have to get perfect right away. The first tip is to know your outcome. What do you want overall from winning the debate or winning the argument? Do you want to win someone over to your side? Do you want to win an audience over to your side? And what will winning be? So how would you know it if you were winning the argument or the debate? So get very clear about where you want to take the conversation or take the argument or debate before you start arguing. Or if you already find yourself in an argument suddenly and you weren't expecting it, take a moment to figure out, where do I want to go with this? Because if it's just about being right, then your focus is going to be on you, and you could actually mess up perhaps some good relationships with people if you're overly focused on being right and like smashing them with your argument. So get clear, what will winning be like? Winning isn't necessarily pushing the person into a corner and making them feel bad or making them feel like they lost an argument. That might not be your ultimate outcome. So what does winning mean? Get very clear about that as you're going through the argument, and preferably before the argument. You don't always get that time to do that. But as you're going through the argument, and this might change, your outcome might change. You might decide to go somewhere else with it, but have a clear target. Where do you want to drive your points toward? And then ultimately, how do you know when you win the argument so that you can then exit the argument? An example of knowing your outcome, your outcome just might be, I want to open this person's mind to a new perspective. That's a great place to come from when you're looking to formulate an outcome. Not that you want to win, not that you maybe want to win them over to your side completely. It's, I want to open their mind to my perspective, a different perspective. And if I can do that, then that's my outcome. And to me, that's me winning. Number 2, know who the judge and the jury is. And usually they're the same person. So think about a lawyer in a courtroom. The lawyer is not trying to win over the other lawyer. That's not the idea. The lawyer is trying to win over the jury, and if there's not a jury, the lawyer is trying to win over the judge. So know who your judge and jury is. So if you're debating with someone and it's an actual competition debate, you're trying to win over the judge. You're not trying to necessarily win the other person, the other party over to your side. Now, if there is a case where you're trying to win the other person over to your side, then you want to de-escalate it and not make it as much of an argument. A good example of this is if you're arguing with a spouse. You don't want to necessarily win in the sense of pummeling them into the ground with all your good points and showing them that you're right. That's not going to end up very good for you later. So what you would want to do in a situation like that is de-escalate the argument into a conversation and then win them over gently. And the same thing goes for sales. You're not going to argue somebody into a sale. You want to make good points, and then if they give you some pushback, some objections, some resistance, you want to make sure you keep it a conversation and gently win them over with using good logic, good points, and also make sure that you're attending to their feelings and their point of view. The more you can say, okay, I understand your point of view, and demonstrate that you do understand their point of view, then you can more easily take them over to your side. One of my guilty pleasures is arguing politics on Facebook. It doesn't go anywhere. I'm not expecting to win the other person over, but there is an audience who's watching. So I'm actually playing to the audience. I want to make good points and show the people who are reading the back and forth that my point is a stronger point or a correct point, and I want to take apart the other person's point. So the judge and the jury in that case, or is the audience, the people who are watching or reading the debate go on. So make sure you're very clear about who that is, because if it's a one-on-one and you want to win that person over to your side, it's a very different kind of argument than if you're actually in competition or you're trying to show other people who are watching the argument that you're correct and that your point of view is more solid and a stronger point of view. So make sure you're aware of who that is. Who are you trying to win over? Number 3, speak your truth rather than trying to be right. When you're constantly trying to be right, then it's just about beating the other person or beating them with techniques or tactics with arguing, and they can catch you on these techniques and tactics, and they can really catch you when you've disconnected from what it is, that deep down meaning of your argument, the reason that you're arguing this side to begin with, where your point of view comes from. If you come from a place of, this is meaningful to me, this is my truth, this is what I want to communicate, that's a much stronger position to come from than, oh, I caught you in something, oh, I got this little technique I'm going to throw at you. So an example of this is, again, in politics, which is one of the most heated things that you can argue about. If I'm just arguing point for point, or I'm taking that person's points and trying to constantly deconstruct them and break them apart, and I forget where I'm coming from, where do I feel it in my heart that I'm coming from my point of view? And when you connect with that, you want to stay connected to that, because that's your center, and that's where you're always going to be strongest from. Remember why you're arguing the point of view that you're arguing. What other people will do quite often is they'll try to create a false equivalency. So if, say you're arguing politics, and you say, well, your person did this, this, and this, and that's just wrong, and then they're going to try to create an equivalency of someone on your end of the political spectrum doing something similar, so they can say, well, you see, they do it too, so it's just the same. That's when you want to, again, get in contact with, or connect with what it is that is your meaningful side of the argument, and say, look, this is not about who did what. This is this what we want for our country? Is this the direction that we want to go in? Is this morally and ethically right for everyone in this country, not just a select few? So that would be an example of me coming from where my heart is, you know, I don't care if you can go tit for tat on who did what. My thing is, let's look at the bigger, the meta on this, and say, okay, what do we really want out of this? Where do we really want to take this? What direction do we want to take? You know, is it really about combat and politics, or is it about what's best for the country? So I do this a lot, and the times that I've lost connection to the deeper meaning of my point of view and the side that I'm arguing are usually when I get caught on these little technicalities that they're using, like this false equivalency, or they may catch me in some sort of contradiction, or they can put anything together like that, but they can't argue with your truth. That's the main thing. When you're coming from your heart and you're coming from your truth, you already won the argument. And especially if they've lost connection with their truth and their meaning, then they usually have lost that altogether. Some people say that in arguing and debating that the truth really doesn't count. I completely disagree with that. Know your stuff, know your truth, and know what it is you're talking about. Jordan Peterson talks a lot about that, where if you're going to debate with someone, know your stuff. If you want confidence, know your stuff, and I completely agree. I don't always agree with him, but I agree with that. Check out my website, nlp-gym.com. There I have some free NLP training. You can download it right away and start practicing. Also, I have some free hypnotic inductions you can also download instantly. Just download it to your iPad, your phone, or your computer, and then put some headphones on and listen to my voice guide you to greater confidence and self-esteem. Also, check me out on Facebook. You can get real-time updates on whatever it is that I'm up to, or whatever new trainings I have coming out. And if you like this video, please click like right down here. And like I mentioned before, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so now. Take care.